Good evening. Welcome to the Gothic Bohemian Salon. I'm here tonight with my friend Max to talk to you about a couple of things. First off is going to be a very exciting announcement, which is that I'm almost at 100 subscribers. Yay! Which means that I'll be doing a little giveaway. Aha! Right? We're very excited about this.
Yes.
So basically, if you are the 100th subscriber, please send me a private message with your mailing address, and I will send you a nifty box of goodies consisting of either these either these items or something very, very like them. Might be my Vanna White. We have many interesting things in here, the best of which is probably this tiny little green bottle full of, what was that, what was the potion that Harry Potter won when he answered the poison potion question in the Half-Blood Prince? Okay, this is better because this is the green fairy, and she will destroy your soul. Ooh. So anyway, we got that. We got some really nice Burt's Bees.
And there's more where that came from.
More, oh, absinthe, right. I was like, there's more Burt's Bees. Yes, there is. Burt's Bees lip balm. Yay! Lovely New York City compact. And this is, of course, if this matches the color of your skin. If not, we will find a suitable replacement. Dark lip gloss. And one or both of these lovely nail decals. Oh, and last but not least, the dark mark. Ooh. And that's not the end of it, because between now and the time that I get the 100 subscribers, I'm going to be looking for nifty little things to put into this box. That means stuff from my own apartment that's really interesting and will be very, very cool, I promise, and things that I see as I'm running around. And as you know, I'm a very good thrift store person, so I could find some really interesting things for you. Try not to be from the UK or Europe, because it's really expensive to mail stuff there. But if you are, I will still do it. So, yay! I'm at 92. I'm at 92 right now, so only 8 more to go. And I'm telling you, they're hopping on fast.
Going like hotcakes.
Oh, and one last little thing. You don't get the box because that's mine, but you are going to get some really nifty little patches to put on your face. Some cupids. See?
Very nice.
Cupids and really nifty hearts and some big beauty marks, and yeah, and they're all different colors. It's really great.
You
So that's
just use
exciting.
like some spirit gum to put them on?
A little bit of eyelash glue, and they're on there tight for a whole night, and you can reuse them, which is really
You could
brilliant.
put super glue on them and they'd never come off.
They'd never come off. That wouldn't be good, though. We want them to come off eventually, right?
I guess. I'm just letting your viewers know all of the options that
Yeah.
they have.
Super glue is an option.
It is an option.
I guess so. Okay, well, from his mouth to your ears, super glue it is.
There you go.
Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about, that we wanted to talk to you about, once again, is that so important subject of, I was going to say slave training, but I actually meant corset training. I've brought out some things that some people call corsets, and other people call torture devices, and even other people just call clothing.
Take your pick.
So, as our first example
Of a non-corset.
of a non-corset, we have this. This is something that you might see, hang on, something that you might see at like Victoria's Secret. They can cost a whole lot of money. I've seen these go for as much as $40 to $80.
Not good.
Crazy.
You don't want that.
Really, really crazy.
No.
Not really very curvy, as you can see.
I mean, it is bone.
No.
Is it bone? It's not bone.
It's got plastic boning, which
that
does that count?
It
No.
doesn't count, no.
But I will say this for this thing. You could put some really nifty trim in here. Okay. You could put real boning in it.
You could put some gussets in
And
it.
you could put gussets in it if you wanted to. You could put a waist tape, which we'll explain what that is in a bit. And it could be much better than it is now. So there are ways to improve upon the ready-to-wear pseudo corset. Corset.
Yeah.
Corset. There we go. Okay, so there's that one, and then I brought this one out too because it's sort of similar kind of a thing, and it's really pretty. I mean, they're really pretty. Don't get me wrong. I know pretty stuff as well as the next person. This is very très Gothic.
Yeah.
Very nice. But it's the limpest thing in the universe. I mean, this is like... I could practically... Well, as you see, I've rolled it up into a ball.
Yeah. It's like
You
space
shouldn't-
bags without the space bags.
You shouldn't be able to do that with a corset, honestly. Flap, flop, 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 flop. Okay, so you could do the same thing that I'm suggesting with the other one. In fact, I advise you, if you get a little thing like this, even if you're not trying to corset yourself or cinch yourself tight or anything like that, I do suggest strongly that you put some real boning in there.
Please.
Please. All you need to do is go to your local fabric store and get bias binding or something like that. Some places online have boning tape or channel, as it's called, and get some at least spiral boning or spring steel if you can find that. There's a place in Berkeley here in California called Lacis, and they have pre-cut boning. They don't do mail order, but for mail order you can try, I will put some links down there for places that you can get some of these supplies. There's Greenberg and Hammer in New York, and there's Farthingales. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, is Farthingales. And there's one more place that's really good, and they have a lot of books and stuff too. And there's some really good books on corset making, which can also be really, really useful. Okay, so for our last corset that's not really a corset, but is one that I did adapt. If you've been watching my videos, you might have seen this already. Now this is a little embarrassing. Those corsets used to fit me, and as you can see, this is about as big as, this is just one side, and it's about as big as one of those, but you know, whatever.
We're improving, you know.
Whatever. Yes, we're improving. Anyway, so this was actually two really bad eBay cheap corsets. I think they each were like $10 or $15, which is pretty cheap. And they were just made out of this pretty crappy satiny material, but they did have a very important feature, and that is this bit right here, which is called the busk. And it's really important if you can manage to put one of these in something that you've gotten, or if you can buy something with one of these in it. They're really good to have in your corset. It makes it possible for you to get in and out by yourself, and it also gives you extra support up in the front where you want it. But then on the inside, usually you don't see anything like this, and what we've done on the inside is we've put new boning channels. That's what these strips going down are, and inside those we've put much better boning. But the most important part is, can you hold that side?
Of course.
Is this ribbon going all the way through, and that's underneath these boning channels. Okay, but hang on. You don't stitch it down. Hang on. Let me do that one. Okay, so basically they're not stitched down except for where the boning channel is there. So all your tension when you're wearing a corset goes to this area. So you want something to strengthen it, and that's what this tape is for. This is just a nice ribbon that had a nice pattern on it, but basically you want something like a twill tape, which basically is a what is that weave called?
Herringbone.
A herringbone weave. And all you need to ask for is grosgrain. Well, no, grosgrain isn't right. Twill tape. What else is it called? There's some other names for it that aren't coming to my mind right at this moment, but I'll also put that in the comment section.
Bias tape or something like that.
It's not bias tape. That's the stuff that you put at the top and bottom.
Oh, okay.
I also added a nice little trim down here. I don't know if you can see that, but see that nice little trim? It's pretty. So that makes it look much nicer, and it just gives it a lot more body. And as you can see,
much more functional.
Much more functional, much more comfortable. And as you can see, there's an actual curve in the corset, and you can't really fold this up into a little ball. It's stiff, but not so stiff that it hurts.
As opposed to this.
Right. Yeah, you could pretty much wash that in your sink if you wanted to, which is a good thing, but not a good thing, obviously. So, to get to
legitimate corsets.
A legitimate corset, we have this quite beautiful dark garden corset. Now, I'm not trying to single out any one corset company above any other corset company. There's plenty of good ones out there. But what you want to look for when you're looking for good corsets is you want to make sure that it has the busk in the front. You'll see that. You want to point out the busk?
We have the busk right here.
The busk right there, and the other side too.
We have this part of the busk as well.
Right. And then you want to make sure that you have a curviness to it. Let's do this side.
It's more comfortable, honestly, because
Well,
when you have that straight, it's just like a.
Well, it pulls in at your ribs and your hips, and you don't want that at all. You want it to pull in at your waist only. So you want a silhouette that is, like I've said before, you want it to come under your rib cage, dip in a little bit, and then come back over your hips.
And when Jwlhyfer is like saying your natural waist, it's literally, here we are. It's that soft part right under your ribs. So you're not compressing your ribs. You're just, if you get a corset that fits you, you're just getting it right in this soft part right here.
In this area, just in this area
my
right
ribs
here.
are right here, and this is this soft part.
Where's your hip bone?
My hip bone's here.
Okay.
And my ribs are here. So right in the middle.
You've got just that much room that you want to be coming in.
Which is right as like the width of your twill tape. You always want the twill tape right at your waist because that's the part of your waist that's going to take all that tension, like you were saying earlier.
Yeah, exactly. And that will prolong the life of the corset as well as make it easier to wear and all kinds of stuff like that. So you see that there's a lot of boning channels stitched in. You see all the stitching, that's where all the boning channels are. All these things. And at the very side here, there's actually a literal curve to the boning itself. It's actually curving out on its own. So you can sometimes bend the boning a little bit so that it does that.
As opposed to this, which doesn't really have much of a curve.
There's no curve in that at all.
Yeah, it's pretty straight, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So,
and this, as you can see, has a nice curve. Now this is a little waist cincher. It's a ready-to-wear waist cincher that you buy off the rack from Dark Garden. So it's not made to measure for me, but it fit well enough and worked well enough that I could use it as a waist training corset. And now Max is using this corset and another corset that's similar to it to waist train for himself. So you've been able to train down from your natural waist, which was
my natural waist without a corset was like 29 inches, and I've been able to reduce it down now to between 26 and 27 inches just without anything on, and that's what we said before, right underneath your ribs. So
right.
That's the waist.
Right.
I can uncomfortably lace down to about 19 inches, although I prefer to stay about 21 or 22. That's where it's comfortable for me.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just take it slowly, in until it's just right on that cusp of being comfortable and manageable,
yep.
and then you slowly take it down over weeks and months until you can completely close the corset in the back, and you're comfortable with it as well.
Right. And when you first are putting it on, you want to kind of gradually take it in then too. You don't want to just like pull it in 4 inches immediately.
Yeah.
You put it on, you do like 2 inches, let's say. Mm-hmm. Remember, that's compressing all the way around your waist.
Yeah.
It's not just in one spot, so it's very comfortable. So you do your 2 inches, you kind of do your makeup, sit around,
have a glass
of wine, maybe smoke a cigarette.
Do whatever.
And wait a little while, and then, to gradually pull it in, maybe another inch or so. And, so if you're getting ready for an evening out that you're going to wear your corset to, and you want to cinch it pretty tight, start getting ready a few hours beforehand so that you have the time to slowly be pulling that corset in and making it, smaller and smaller. It's gonna start to kind of loosen as you're wearing it, or feel looser as it kind of conforms to your body. Mm-hmm. So you'll be able to pull it in more and more and more. And basically, it's like I said before, it's comfortable at 2 inches. At 4 inches, it's still fairly comfortable, but a little bit.
It's manageable.
It's manageable. 6 inches is where you get into some serious corset training. And I actually wanted to do an addendum to something that I said earlier. I sort of stopped at 6 inches, and you actually can corset down to at least 10 inches below your natural waist if the circumstances are proper. And I don't mean like immediately. I mean over the course of months. Yeah. Literally over the course of months, possibly even longer. I did mention that in order to see how far down you could lace, you can measure the widest part of your thigh. Very good. And you want to be in the best physical shape that you can possibly be in for yourself at that time. You don't have to wait until you're at your perfect weight, but it's kind of a good idea to be close. But like I said before, it can be used as a dietary aid. When you're wearing a corset, you don't tend to eat as much.
And you don't want to eat.
And you don't want to eat as much.
That's like one thing. You don't want to drink a lot of carbonated like water and soda, mm-hmm. and you don't want to eat a lot.
Right.
Because you'll feel sick.
Right. And you won't want to.
You
literally
won't want to. I'm just saying, like, don't do it.
Well, don't do it, and you won't feel like doing it.
Yeah. They kind of...
They go together.
It's counterintuitive.
Yeah. Well, you kind of feel like held in there, so the desire to eat just doesn't really come up so much.
I got full a lot quicker.
Yeah, you definitely.
That
definitely happens.
I mean, you get satisfied eating like a little bit less food when you're...
Absolutely. Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
So the other thing to look for is in the back. You want to see good, correctly spaced grommets. Those are 2-part eyelets, so you want to see 2-part eyelets. That means that they're made of 2 parts, so there'll be as much eyelet in the back as there is in the inside as there is on the outside. You also want to see this, here, hold this again, please. You want to see this, let's hold it that way, this rabbit ears configuration, which means you have it laced to the middle, and then you loop it and then you keep lacing down at the bottom.
One thing that Jwlhyfer taught me is that if you are lacing up your corset like this, you always want to put that loop right where the twill tape is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right
at
where your waist
point.
is, because you're cinching yourself in at that critical point, and you want the loop to be right there. So even if the twill tape's not directly in the middle of the corset, so you have like an overbust corset and it's a little, the proportions are a little bit off.
This lacing goes where the tape is.
Yeah, so the tape is right here. It goes all the way around, and that's where you put the loop.
Exactly. So to figure out where your waist is, and this is important too, take like a string, like some twine or something, and just tie it around your waist, and tie it around the point where you feel your waist naturally is. And generally you're going to be in the right spot. If you're confused about it, see a seamstress. Go to your local laundromat. There's often seamstresses there that can help you with measurements and stuff like that. If you're ordering a corset through online or whatever, and you need certain specific measurements, it's a good idea to go to a seamstress, somebody who's familiar with taking measurements, and have them do the measurements for you rather than try to do it yourself, unless you're experienced in that area anyway. But it's always a good idea to have your measurements taken by somebody else. So the other thing you want to look for, keep holding on, is there should be boning on both sides of these grommets. So a boning piece here and a boning piece here. See, the grommets are in the middle, right?
Running all the way up and down.
Running all the way up and down. And then, yeah, so this is boning on either side, and that helps the edge. Can you hold it a little? Yeah, thank you. Just a little stronger. Great. So your corset back is going to be straight up and down. It's not going to kind of crinkle. It's not going to crinkle over here in the middle. It just stays nice and stiff, and you really want that that stiffness there to keep it going. See how much this is sticking out? That's where your hip is. See? So this is really curvy, and look at this. I mean, this is curvy. This is curving around a lot, and this has been worn quite a bit. Yeah. And you see up here too, it's curvy. It's curving up on the side. Oops, sorry. It's curving up here. So there's a big curve happening. This is like shaped like a person because it's been worn by a person.
Yeah. And because it's made the right way.
All right. This one is 24-inch waist corset. Yeah. And basically, here's just one side. Let's see how. And the most dramatic part of the curve is on the side, and that's where it should be. There shouldn't be a lot of curving going on here in the front. You don't want that to be curvy. You want that to be straight up and down.
And it really does help with your posture as well. I mean,
it does.
You don't have to strain to sit up straight because the front and the back are rigid. You can sit straight up.
But
it,
not
really
uncomfortable.
No. If it's uncomfortable, then
it's not the right corset for you. So the back, the back also is perfectly straight up and down. Where you're going to have your curve is in these seams and mostly in the side seams. So that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's pretty much a good overview about everything. And how's your corset training going, by the way?
It's going well. I used to do it a lot more when I was first starting off. I'm doing it a little bit more casually now because I have trained my waist down to, where
Are you ready for something new?
Yeah. I can, the 22 or 21-inch corset that you've lent me I can completely close it, and it's
you are ready for something new.
Yeah, and it's comfortable. And so basically whenever you're comfortable and the corset's closed, then you can move on to something smaller. If not, don't force yourself.
Yeah. No, there's no point in doing that.
You don't want to hurt yourself,
Yeah. So Max, thank you so much for joining me tonight. And this has been Jwlhyfer and Max from the Gothic Bohemian Salon.
That's all, folks.
Thank you. It's always really great to have you here, I have to say.
Well, it's great to be here.
All right.
Bye.